You mentioned DevOps. The whole idea of this movement was, and I may be totally wrong about it, is to break the old silos from the traditional legacy infrastructure where you had networking people, security people, storage folks. But if I look at all these paradigms that we talk about, DevOps, DevSecOps, NetOps, SREs, we are creating new silos in a way, and that has more to do with the skill sets. There are folks who are more inclined towards security, so they join security team, because even today's world we'll talk about, hey, the security teams and developers team, even if we use the word DevSecOps, or we talk about SREs, but then also reliability, where the buck stops. So can you also talk about, since your focus is going to be on practitioners, so can you talk about how much of these things are actually translating into actual practice versus what we keep hearing about or what we preach?
Yeah, I think honestly, the interesting thing in the last year, and this is different. We're actually seeing our customers and that we work with at Pulumi using the same phrase. Snowflake, who we work very closely with, they actually called their organization the cloud engineering team. Atlassian, another set of folks we work with, also use the term cloud engineering. So we're actually seeing this in practice. And to your point on silos, it's absolutely true that we need specialization. I think one of the anti-patterns is, we're not saying that, hey, developers are going to become experts in, networks and subnets and, how to cost effectively run a Kubernetes cluster. Like that is really requires deep infrastructure domain expertise, and that is incredibly valuable and requires specialization. It's about embracing the specialization, but enabling people to collaborate. And I think that's where the world is headed.
I think one of the reasons we wanted to break silos were those silos used to create bottlenecks. For security, you have to go on top. So it was, moving everything to blur those lines. But as you rightly said, those specialization will remain. And that's where the real value come from, right? You cannot have everybody doing everything. Then you will have nobody is doing nothing, right?
Yeah, there's actually a story I like to tell sometimes. I used to work at Microsoft. And back in the day, we had a test organization and developer organization. And developers would write the code, then the testers would test it. And the testers would find all sorts of bugs. One day we decided, hey, we're going to combine these, right? Because that workflow is very waterfall-y. It doesn't make sense in this agile world. When we did that, we made a critical mistake, which is the team heard the message that, hey, testing is not important. Testing, of course, is important, but it's a skill set that we all need. And what we found was when you have developers thinking about testing their code, they write better code because they're thinking through the end-to-end quality. But then you still need those test experts, because really test is enough of a specialization of a discipline that you want people to think deeply about how best to test code and what systems to put in place. There's a lot of analogies I see with how we're, where we're heading with infrastructure and cloud engineering.